What is up, Film Geeks? My name is Trevor, and welcome back to my channel. We made it to the last week of the year. Never thought we'd get here, but we made it, and we have lots of top 10 lists to do. We have top 10 disappointing, top 10 surprising, top 10 worst, and top 10 best lists to get through before the year is up, and we're starting these top 10 lists off with the most disappointing movies of the year. Join me in the comment section. Which movies disappointed you the most? Which were you expecting to be something so great that you ended up getting a lot less? Let's talk about it all down below in the comment section, and these are the movies that just disappointed me, movies I wanted to be something so spectacular that we ended up getting a lot less, or at least it didn't give me as much as I was hoping for. And there's going to be some hot takes in here, so if you're easily offended, sorry, but we're gonna go ahead and get started. Right at number 10, this is an Apple TV Plus original starring Tom Hanks, Greyhound. Not a lot of people have seen this one, and I honestly don't blame you, but I was expecting it to be a pretty darn good movie, especially because Tom Hanks was in there, and the action in this film was cool. It wasn't anything extravagant, but something that really let me down here was the writing, and it really let me down that Tom Hanks was one of the co-writers for the film, but the overall objective of everything was like so anticlimactic the whole time. I was expecting a good war movie with Tom Hanks because the trailers really sold me, but by the time I watched this movie, I just felt nothing but disappointed, and it was just overall just a meh movie that I was low-key excited for and kind of got let down by, like 2020 in general. Next up at number 9, I don't really know why I was excited for this one, but I was hoping to feel some nostalgia, and I kind of did, but we're talking about Scoob, and it was just a huge kind of dumpster fire in a way. I was not a big fan of this movie at all. I wish the original voice cast of Shaggy and all these characters got to come back. They didn't. I like the voice cast they brought on, so that got me excited for this movie, but it wasn't really the charming ScoobyDoo movie that I loved and the show that I loved as a kid. It kind of lost all that, especially with the new voice cast. You could just, nothing really felt right about it. Hearing a different voice for Shaggy really didn't sit well for me, and the overall story and overall objective of what they were trying to accomplish didn't really do me anything, and I was expecting a good, fun mystery adventure that we got as a kid, and it didn't really give me those nostalgia vibes, didn't really give me those little kid vibes, and I think part of that is due to the voice casting, but overall, it didn't really catch that Scooby-Doo magic that I loved as a kid. I was excited for Scoob, I don't know why, but it let me down. Next up at number 8, speaking of letdowns, followed by a great performance in this movie, The Tax Collector, David Ayer's movie starring Shia LaBeouf and another guy who's absolutely terrible in this film. I was excited for this film just from the trailers. I'm a fan of David Ayer. Suicide Squad is not his best movie, but he's done things like End of Watch, so he has talent. I was hoping that this movie would be kind of like End of Watch, a real serious, kind of funny, action-packed movie, and it just wasn't. They're making it seem like Shia LaBeouf's this big bad guy, and he's in a movie for maybe 30 minutes. When he's in the movie, you are invested, he grabs your attention, you are locked into the screen. But the rest of the time, they focuses on the main family, who is just absolutely unlikable, and they're just not very good actors. But every time it goes back to Shia, you enjoy it, and it's just disappointing to me that Shia LaBeouf would tattoo his entire body for a movie that he's barely in. Moving on. Next up at number 7 is going to be Mulan. Mulan might be making another list this year. I am a big fan of the original animated Mulan, so I was very excited for this live-action remake, because if you guys have been following my channel, I'm a die-hard Disney live-action remake fan, and Mulan just didn't work on any level. It was absolutely one of the worst movies of the year. You guys have to see where it falls on that list here in a couple days. But overall, it just didn't capture anything that the original Mulan had. It didn't capture any of the Disney magic. It didn't capture literally anything. People were mad that The Lion King was a direct copy. Mulan was a complete different movie. Barely even followed anything that the original movie followed. We didn't have characters like Mushu or the Lucky Cricket. We didn't have any original songs that like make Mulan what it is. And the overall story of Mulan about this woman who is powerful and she's brave enough to dress up as a man to take her father's spot, and she goes and does that. This movie doesn't really follow that like at all, and it just made me so upset, and so many people were hyping it up before I got to see it. This is the best Disney live action remake. Nope. Don't think so. Next up at number 6, you know 2020's a weird year when the New Mutants finally arrived. I kind of enjoyed this movie. The X-Men franchise is something I hold near and dear to my heart. I love those movies so much, but the New Mutants was not good. I knew it wasn't going to be good, but I was still hoping, and it still disappointed me, which is pretty crazy. It lacked action, it lacked convincing characters, it lacked story, and it really lacked like a big climatic ending, and the ending we got was just weird, and by the time I was driving home, I was like, what did I just watch? Ever since I seen the New Mutants, I kind of forgot it came out this year until I started making these lists, and I said, oh yeah, The New Mutants was, even though I knew it was going to let me down, it still managed to let me down. And I think that kind of impressed me in a way, so I had to toss it on this list. Next up at number 5, hot take alert. Feel free to hit the dislike button. David Fincher's Mank. I appreciate the sound design and the overall filmmaking aspect of this film. It truly felt like we were in the 30s. I will 100% agree with you. This is a really well-made film because you have a great director like David Fincher. The overall story about the writing of Citizen Kane is a story that I am not invested in, a story that I don't really care about, and maybe that's because I haven't seen Citizen Kane, but I think it's also because I don't want this movie from David Fincher. I like David Fincher's Gone Girl. I like him doing his show Mindhunter. I like him doing so many other movies that he's done, from The Social Network all the way to Fight Club. I love them all. And he goes and does this movie, which I was not the biggest fan of from the beginning, but everyone was saying it's the best movie of the year, has some great performances. I didn't necessarily think the performances were bad, but I didn't necessarily think they were as good as they wanted to be, and the overall story of the film really lost me, and again, the filmmaking aspect of it was fantastic. It's a really, really well-made film, how the sound design, the production team did a fantastic job putting it together, but did not really craft a good story to pull me in, and made me upset a little bit because I love David Fincher, one of my favorite working directors, and I know everyone loves Mank, and it's the #1 movie in the year. Not for me. So I'm a disappointing list, sorry. Next up at number 4 is The Devil All the Time. Again, these actually have really good performances, a really well-produced film, but I never wanted to turn off a movie more in my life. It was not just boring, but it was overall just really hard to watch. It kind of got to the point of so disturbing, it was unnecessary. And the characters in the film that I wanted to see more of, we didn't get to until like halfway through the film. That's Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland. We didn't really get them until an hour into the film, which is fine, but by the time we got there, I was so uninvested in the story, I just wanted it to end, and when it did end, I was kind of happy because the movie was extremely disturbing. If I tell anyone about this film or exactly what happens, they're like, there's no way that's a movie. It is a movie, and everyone loves it. It's just not my cup of tea. These really just dark and kind of cynical, weird movies that didn't really seem like it had a lot of storyline going on, a whole compelling plot. It's not what I want to rewatch. I'm a big guy in rewatching, and The Devil All the Time is a movie I'll never rewatch again. I'm trying to still erase it from my memory. Next up at number 3. We talking hot takes here, folks. Pixar's Soul. Don't get me wrong, I liked Soul. I had some fun with it. I gave it a good review in my review. But the more and more I think about it, the more and more I just didn't really love it. And I was expecting Pixar's best movie from all the hype surrounding it. So that's not the film's fault. That's just the film community I guess we're in. Everyone loved this movie. So I was expecting to love it. And I didn't. And it's sitting at number 15 of all 23 Pixar movies for me. Again, I enjoyed this film. It's one of Pixar's best looking animated films. The animation style is absolutely great. Jamie Foxx is great. Tina Fey is great. But the overall story didn't really pull me in. And that second act just dragged on. And it really took me out of the film. By the time the third act came around, it really didn't get pulled back in. And I just really found myself kind of wanting the movie to be over. I like Onward a heck of a lot more than Soul. And that's another hot take for you. Soul is a good movie, yes. Do I love it? No. Did I want something more? Absolutely. That's why it's number 3 on this list. At number 2, I don't know if this one's a hot take. The film community is definitely torn on this one. Wonder Woman 1984, I was very nice to it in the review I gave. I gave it a 7.5 out of 10, and right now it's about a 5 out of 10. It seems to keep going lower. The more and more I think about it, the more and more I just don't really enjoy this movie. And I'm a big fan of DCEU movies, and this is last on my DCEU ranking. And Gal Gadot is fine, and Patty Jenkins is making her movie, and I love Patty Jenkins for that, but the overall characters and overall story of this film just didn't really work, didn't really compel me. Kristen Wiig's character as Cheetah didn't necessarily need to be in the film. I thought it was an extremely wasted opportunity. Pedro Pascal is fine. He's pretty dang good. Probably one of the best parts about this movie. But they bring back Steve Trevor, and that just felt like a gag to me. Like he was there just to give the movie some depth, to give the movie some heart. Their chemistry, Chris Pine's and Gal Gadot's chemistry works pretty dang well. But overall, I just feel like that was kind of unnecessary. And what they end up doing with the character throughout the film, I wasn't the biggest fan of. And it's a 2.5-hour movie with very, very little action. It's about an hour and a half of the film before you get an action scene. That's kind of a big deal when it's one of the biggest blockbusters of the year, and the ending was so anticlimactic. You're expecting this big ending battle showdown that we just didn't get. And it kind of ended. Not a big fan of Wonder Woman 1984. It's fine, but again, not one I'm going to be rewatching soon, and it made the disappointing list. But number 1, here we go, folks. You guys can feel free to hit that dislike button. Tenet didn't just disappoint me, but it confused the absolute heck out of me. I had no idea what I watched when I walked out of the film, and I haven't really wanted to go back and rewatch it. I bought it on Blu-ray just so I can rewatch it, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more I don't want to rewatch it. A movie that requires you to look up information about it after you watch it didn't get off the whole story of trying to sell. It is an extremely confusing movie, and no one can really say it's not because it's extremely confusing. A very well-made film. It is awesome. The score is probably one of the best scores I've ever heard ever, followed by some great performances, but the story was so confusing. I was expecting one of Christopher Nolan's absolute best films, and I got honestly one of his worst, in my humble opinion. The storyline just took it out of me, how many different things were happening in different time loops and everything. We know Christopher Nolan loves to loop with time, and I follow most movies that are confusing. This one left me in the dust. I had no idea what I watched when I went out. I couldn't really tell anyone what I watched after I watched it, and that was a big problem for me. Maybe on rewatching it, it will change and I'll love it, but as of right now, it's the #1 most disappointing movie of the year. I walked out very, very upset. What movies disappointed you guys most this year? Let's talk about it all down below in the comment section. Lots more top 10 videos coming this week. Tomorrow, we have top 10 most surprising, then top 10 worst, and top 10 best, all yet to come. Lots of other videos coming too. Make sure the subscribe button's hit that thumbs up button. I know I'm going to get a lot of dislikes. I can use all thumbs up I'm going to get. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.